Oh, okay. Well, so listen. I have seen Amadeus, Tad. I saw that movie in high school.
No, you have not, because Amadeus had boobs in it. We had a discussion maybe 5 minutes before we started recording, and Alex tried to trick me into thinking he's seen Amadeus, but that is a lie.
Yeah, Tad knows that I don't watch real movies, and that's completely fucking true. Tad, think this way. Would I have ever seen that movie if I wasn't forced to see it?
Like Google Images showed me, there are Amadeus boobs. And
Okay.
this lady in like a big wig.
So you say that, but I specifically remember in high school where my English teacher, because this is where I would watch it, we would watch this garbage in.
Where I would watch all my movies in public school.
Anyway, so do you remember that one story of that guy who like ran away from life itself, like traveled across the country, like hitchhiking and shit, then died out in Alaska like an idiot because he starved out there? It's like Into the Wild or something, right?
Yep, that famous story. Loved by all.
So you haven't read that book or seen that movie, but I specifically remember that after we read the book in high school, he wanted us to watch the movie as well, but there's a scene where he floats down the river on his back and his dick and balls are just hanging out. So when he was watching the movie, he specifically just went up to the projector and held his hand up in front of his dick while he swam past, and then went back to his chair.
That's really fucking funny.
Yeah, so I know for a fact I've seen Amadeus, but it was also literally when I was half of my life ago, so I don't remember most about it, other than just because I don't remember that there were titties in there until you mentioned that.
I can guarantee you right now I've seen two things. Amadeus and that guy's penis Into the Wild movie. Was that the only thing you brought with you from your English class for 12 years?
Okay, so, no. The other thing I remember is falling asleep in that class, and then my teacher making fun of me because I snore, apparently.
What was the scathing insult he hit you with?
No, he just made fun of me for snoring. He specifically woke me up 5 minutes before 5 minutes after the bell rang, so I only had 1 minute to get to my next class to fuck with me. Which, to be fair, I would have done the same. You got me.
That is pretty funny.
So,
you know what else is funny, Alex?
Yes, yeah. Well, what, Tad?
Oh, so this is like a let me tell you about mini. This is called snappable content, Alex. Now it's called shareable. What you do is you make them under 10 minutes so that they can go on the TikTok, and you need to do this before you can get someone to pay you to make YouTube videos.
TikTok's up to 10 minutes now?
Yeah, they went up to 10 minutes. I don't know if it couldn't be because Zoomers could pay attention. It's got to be so that people can upload more Family Guy clips.
You say Zoomers,
so
but you have to understand, Zoomers are in their 20s now, dude. Gen Zers or whatever they call themselves are the young kids now.
Do you think that on TikTok, you remember when YouTube had an upload limit of 10 minutes, right? Mm-hmm. You'd go on there and you would find Full Metal Brotherhood Alchemist episode 5 part 1. And then you would find part 2, but you couldn't find part 3 and shit like that. Do you think TikTok kids are having the same problems?
I bet TikTok kids are watching anime like AMVs with edits and shit while also watching Family Guy at the same time.
These are going to become the most well-cultured people in existence.
Yeah, it's definitely something that you could call them.
Anyway, so the other day, I don't remember how I stumbled across it, but I found this guy called Eric Mays. Now, if you're listening and you are a TikTok Zoomy alpha, you probably already know this guy. Me? No fucking clue about him. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this literally every other podcast on the planet, right?
Okay.
I'm just stealing this from the Wikipedia page, and I'm just going to read it verbatim, right?
I appreciate the honesty.
See, that's the problem, though. I couldn't do that. Because, I was going through it, and I'm I have to rephrase this so that it flows better. I have to change things around. I'm better than the internet historian. No, it really pissed me off, because I'm trying to do an episode on the goat gland doctor.
The what?
And I found a podcast. You'll find out about that later, Alex. Let me tell you.
About.
And I found a podcast wow, this is really fun and engaging. And then I Googled one of the phrases from it, and I'm oh my God, he just stole this from a Mental Floss article, word for word. This motherfucker. And And the other two I checked were the same fucking thing, and it's like, am I the only person? Anyway, I'm getting a little fucking off topic. Eric Bradford Mays, Alex. Mm-hmm. So he was born in 1958 in Flint, Michigan.
Okay.
He was an auto worker until he retired and got into politics. He represented the 1st Ward of Flint in 2013. So that's when he finally got into, like, actual politics, you know?
So, wait.
So,
we jumped from 50s to 2013, all right?
Yeah. In between that, he was an auto worker because he was in, he was in Michigan. He was next to Detroit and all that. We used to actually have industry there.
Oh.
So he worked there as, like, an auto body guy. So, unfortunately, he was a Democrat, but I'll try not to hold that against him.
What do you mean?
So, during his tenure, this is just like the Wikipedia summary. Mays was known to be highly controversial due to several incidents where he was suspended and escorted out of city council meetings. He is widely known on TikTok for his catchphrase, "point of order."
What?
So, in 1981, Mays began attending the city council meetings as a representative for the NAACP. He's retired now. He's going there,
What does that
speaking
stand
for the
for?
rights of black people.
Remind me.
Oh, fuck. What does it stand for? I'm white. This isn't... Okay, National Association for the Advancement of Colored People.
Okay, so...
Oh yeah, I guess I should mention he is a black man.
I wanted you to be like that guy on Twitter who thought it meant Negro. The N stood for that.
Oh, you were baiting me.
Yeah, I was trying to get you to say that.
6 years later, in 1987, Mays was convicted of felony assault for brandishing a .357 Magnum at a man who he claimed had previously broken into his home and threatened his life. He pled guilty and was sentenced to a year of probation. He initially hoped to go to law school, but the felony on his record prevented that. So, like, a justified reason to be whipping out a gun, right? The guy said he was going to kill him, broke into his fucking house, yeah.
Yeah, but this was, like, after the case, so technically speaking, it wouldn't be a self-defense at that point, because he would have just, like, saw the guy in the street. Like, you can't just pull, like, even if it is the guy, you can't just do that.
Yeah.
Because that's just, like, chaos.
Because that's premeditated.
Yeah.
So, way much later. So, like, he couldn't go to law school because of that felony, right? Mm-hmm. But I've completely given up, by the way, on the 10-minute limit. There's no fucking way that's going to happen. We spent half of it talking about Amadeus. So much later, July 2012, Mays is taking part in a public hearing on proposed... I wrote Tad abatements. I don't know why I wrote my name in there. On proposed Tad abatements for downtown Flint buildings. Oh, a tax abatement. He was in part of a public hearing. They were trying to get, like, business tax cuts, right? Uh-huh. So Mays was asked to return to his seat by an assistant city attorney for going over his allotted 3 minutes to speak. Mays refused, claiming he should be given more time due to a prior interruption, while criticizing the time limit imposed on him during an earlier incident.
So what you're saying is he's based?
He's incredibly based. He was granted extra time. When this extra time had passed, however, he continued to speak. He was again asked to return to his seat and instead continued to speak.
What was he even talking about that was so fucking important, though?
The restaurants and buildings downtown were getting, like, these tax cuts, and he's like, this is bullshit.
How
like, he wasn't a politician then, he was just a citizen. He's like, you guys, you're fucking us, you know? So a police officer approached him and asked him to sit down. Mays refused. He was then handcuffed and let out of the building. He was issued a ticket for the misdemeanor of disrupting a meeting of a public body and released.
All right.
So a trial was held in September, postponed till February. Mays represented himself and was found guilty and sentenced to pay a fine of like $400.
Okay, this is not that bad.
So following this event, Mays attempted 3 times to be elected to the Flint City Council. And in November, he won by 7 votes against his opponent, Anita Brown.
All right.
Anita, she demanded a recount, and it was granted by the city council. After the recount, he won by 8 votes. Gave me the giggles.
It's just, I'm picturing her in her head. What do you think she thought, right? Like, what do you think she thought when she saw that 8th fucking vote come out of nowhere?
It was her turn, Alex.
So then what?
So, he wins. Less than 2 weeks later, Mays is arrested on Interstate 475 for driving under the influence, possession of marijuana, refusal to be fingerprinted, no proof of insurance, and failing to report an accident. According to Special Prosecutor Michael Gildner, Mays crashed his car near Leith and Industrial Avenue in Flint. He then drove his car for approximately 3 miles. On the wrong side of the road.
What is his
on
fucking
4 flat tires?
What is his fucking problem?
He was found by police while he was trying to change the tires at 2:50 a.m. The vehicle, a Chevrolet Impala, quote, was leaking fluid, a front axle was snapped, and a headlight was smashed out. 2 tires were flat and 2 others shredded. No witnesses testified to seeing Mays driving the vehicle on the night of his arrest, but police witnesses said he confessed to drunk driving the night of his arrest. Mays also admitted to being legally intoxicated at the time of his arrest, with a blood alcohol reading proving as such.
Okay.
So June 2014, this is a few months later, the jury decided to acquit Mays of 2 charges, reducing the drunk driving to impaired, and reached a deadlock on the charge of failing to report an accident. The impaired driving charge was later overturned when a higher court found that the judge had failed to warn Mays about the risks of representing himself. So he did it a second time.
Oh my god.
Mays requested a retrial after claiming that the judge in the first one treated him unfairly, which was granted.
Now, to be fair, if the judge did not tell him that representing himself is a bad idea, technically he could call that. That is actually fair for him to get a retrial in that situation. So,
the retrial is for November, and he represents himself again.
Okay, look, at this point... look. At this point, I think he just wants to go to jail.
No, Alex. He's got an ironclad defense, okay?
Yeah.
During the selection of the jury in this trial, Mays asked the potential jurors whether they believed in God. This immediately brought an objection from the prosecutor, Gildner. Mays told the jury, I do. A mistrial was requested by Gildner on the basis that Gildner objected to Mays' question could make him appear anti-God to a prospective jury, to which the assigned judge declined. The judge did, however, speak with the seated jurors, telling them not to penalize Gildner if he believed in God or not.
What the fuck are they talking about?
Listen, Alex, I don't know if you know this about Flint, Michigan, but I think there's something in the water.
Okay.
So Mays, representing himself, initially refused to allow the breathalyzer results to be admitted into evidence, as he would be unable to question the officer on how the test was conducted. Right?
Uh-huh.
This was because the officer was, at that time, undergoing emergency surgery. Unconnected to everything. He was just, like, in, like, an accident or something.
Okay, for a minute there, I was worried fucking this asshole, this Mr. Mays, planned some shit at the time.
So, however, he did yield and allow it to be introduced after the judge informed Mays that he could ask for a transcript made during the previous trial where Mays had already interrogated the officer. This was the same trial that he brought God into. In that first one earlier, he was also interrogating the police officer, but didn't make a note of it because he didn't want to have to bring it up next time because it went badly for him.
Of course.
It's like when you introduce really bad evidence in Phoenix Wright, you're like, oh, that fucked me. So he's convicted. He lost that one.
Of course.
And sentenced to 28 days in jail in January 2016. Mays claimed that the case was politically motivated and that his political opponents were trying to send him to jail to stop him from speaking out about the Flint Water Crisis. The judge disagreed, saying there was no evidence of a political conspiracy.
God.
So the Flint Water Crisis started October 2013, and a guy named Darnell Early was appointed as emergency manager when everyone's like, why is my water fucking poo-poo, right? So he's just like, you're the emergency guy, you handle all this. You have like the highest authority.
Yeah.
So Mays was very critical, and this was 2 years ago. Mays was very critical of Early's handling of the water crisis. He referred to Early as a, quote, gruff, nasty, arrogant, non-listening kind of guy.
So me.
Early, 2 years later, after, he had all that backlash, used May's arrest to demand that his resignation, right?
Uh-huh.
Mays put forth an objection to that. Early then issued an executive order. The order immediately prohibited Mays from speaking to city staff and that he could only speak with Early by email. If any residents from the First Ward wanted anything from the city, they would have to contact him through the city clerk. So he put a gag order on Mays so that he couldn't talk to anyone.
All right. But, all right.
The order also stated that Mays could not be disruptive during city council meetings.
Well, that's just not fucking fair. That's bullshit. You know he can't do that.
Yep, he could only address the council when recognized by then ward councilman and president of the city council, Scott Kincaid. So Scott Kincaid and this guy put together this thing where it's like, we need to shut him up, right? He's making everyone look bad.
I think he's just making himself look bad. He sounds like a fucking... Can't be crazy. He doesn't sound like a very good politician.
So the guy that was before Early. So Early was the guy that was fucking over Mays, right?
Yeah.
So Early's predecessor was a guy named Edward Kurtz. And he approved the switch from Detroit Water and Sewage Department to a new water provider called the Karan Gandhi Water Authority, KWA.
Okay.
So they were at Detroit Water. They switched to KWA, which was still under construction, right? Mm-hmm. This committed Flint to swap its water supply from Lake Huron to the Flint River. Residents immediately began to complain about the color, taste, and smell of the water, and by September of that year, Flint had issued several citywide boil advisories. That's where, you have to boil the water because there's some bugs or something in it that makes it unsafe.
Yeah, but why did they switch to this water? Because it just sounds like a terrible fucking idea.
It does. It does seem like maybe it was someone was getting paid a lot of money. So already upset about the price of the water, which the switch was supposed to alleviate, that's what they campaigned it on, Mays began questioning city staff about its quality. He was told that the issues were due to the age of the water systems. Mays responded, wondering why similar problems weren't reported when the Detroit Water supplied the water. That month, Mays made a Facebook post stating that the city council should host investigative hearings. However, both city and state officials claimed the water was fine and that a hearing wasn't necessary.
Okay.
So he's going out on Facebook and shit, posting about how Flint's water is all fucked.
Yeah, it's making the frogs gay.
Early resigned as emergency manager in January 2015 as replaced by a guy named Jerry Ambrose. That month, Mays invited the then, at the time, director of Detroit Water, Sue McCormick, to speak to the Flint City Council about switching the water supply back. The council failed to put the issue on the agenda, which forced McCormick to speak during the public portion of the meeting. So they just couldn't find a way to budget into the meeting, right?
Okay.
So she goes into the public one that's open to comments from everyone, right? So she tells them hey, this is all fucked. You guys need to fix this. So 2 months later, the council votes 7-1 and agrees to switch back and purchase 16 million gallons of water a day from Detroit Water. sourced all the way from Lake Huron.
Okay, so everything's going pretty well so far. So how does this go bad?
The decision was reverted by the new emergency manager, Jerry Ambrose, citing the cost associated with switching back.
Oh, okay, cool.
So the new guy, so Early left, seemingly out of nowhere. He was the one that was trying to silence him with the gag order and shit, and now this guy's on there.
Yeah, okay.
So July 8th, 2015, Mays was removed from a 3-person finance committee meeting by police.
What the fuck did he do this time?
The committee, of which Mays was not a member, had been discussing grass cutting in the city. When Mays was allowed to comment on the issue, he complained that city workers hadn't cut the grass in his ward while doing so for members including Jackie Poplar, who had supported the new mayor's re-election. Old mayor's re-election.
I swear to God, politicians are just children, man.
Mays stated that he didn't understand why the city was able to spend $22,000 to prosecute him, but didn't have the money to keep the grass and weeds cut on public rights-of-way and private properties. He became increasingly irate despite attempts to bring order, leading to the councilwoman Monica Galloway reading him the city's disorderly conduct ordinance, stating he could be arrested if he failed to come to order.
Oh my God.
After continued disruption, it was requested that the police remove Mays. Mays was initially removed from the meeting without an arrest being made. However, officials later sought a charge of disorderly conduct after reviewing footage, because there are a bunch of little pussy bitches who are scared of him.
Well, why would they be scared of him? All he does is make an ass of himself.
It's because he's being discriminated against. Like, they're throwing him, like, under the bus. So he was found guilty of that, by the way.
Oh, of course.
Mays ran for mayor that year in 2015 and was initially unopposed due to a clerical error, which meant he was the only one to submit his petitions in time for April 21st.
Due to a clerical error.
However, he fell 48 signatures short of the 900 valid signatures required. This was because over 176 signatures had been invalidated for, quote, various reasons, end quote.
Oh, so it's just like 2020 all over again, huh?
So in a leaked email sent by Beth Clement, part of the governor's chief of staff, she said, Eric Mays, the Flint city councilman who has been very problematic to both of our EMs and secure cities efforts, is the only candidate who filed by the April 21st deadline. EM being the emergency manager.
Yeah.
Then the lieutenant governor at the time replied by saying, too much progress has been made in Flint to let it go to this guy. Then the governor himself, named the most snivelly rat name possible, Rick Snyder, suggested that the issue should be passed to the Flint Senate Minority Leader. And blah, 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 blah. 12 days later, that guy proposed a bill that would extend the filing deadline so that it could happen on August 4th that year, so that everyone else could put in their own votes.
Okay. So they went out of their way to make sure that he couldn't fucking win. I get it.
Yep. So he lost in the primaries with some other lady winning and becoming the first female mayor of Flint, Michigan.
Wow. I bet she's really good.
Alex, I'll give you a hint. There's still no water in Flint.
Yeah, okay, goody.
May 23rd, 2017, Mays admitted to pawning a laptop issued to him by the city to Music Man Pawn Shop for $100.
The fuck is it? Fucking why?
Scott Kincaid, the president of the council, filed a criminal complaint against Mays that year due to the misuse of taxpayer-funded equipment. Mays later said, Kincaid is out here making political allegations, but I pray and hope that there are no criminal charges.
Okay, what is this fucking problem exactly here?
You'll see. The investigation took several months, and in August of that year, Mays pled no contest to willful neglect of duty, with police alleging that he had pawned the laptop 9 times over the past 2 years.
Fucking wait, what? The same laptop, or was he getting like a new one?
Since he started, what he was doing is he was pawning and paying off the laptop 10 times, right?
Yeah.
So in a statement, Mays said, "I don't think it's criminal. I think it just shows I'm poor." He also claimed that the laptop was safer in the pawn shop as City Hall has had break-ins and data leaks.
Okay, hang on. So when you say he pawned it 9 times, did he, like, pawn it and then get
He just went to the pawn shop and sold him the laptop because that's how pawns work, is that you get, hey, here's a portion of this thing's value. If it's a $300 laptop, I'll give you $100 right now. You come back and give me $105 in a week, and I'll give you your item back or whatever.
Oh.
It's like a temporary thing, and if you don't pay it, I just keep the item.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a pawn shop. He was ordered to pay $300 and attend a sheriff's work detail for a week. He was guilty of that one.
All right.
So January 2019, Mays was removed as finance chair.
Wow.
So January. So he's still elected though. He's the ward of like the 1st district or whatever. So January 21st, 2020, Mays and the city council president, Monica Galloway, had been arguing at various points throughout a city council meeting. Approximately 3.5 hours through the meeting, Galloway attempted to end a portion of the meeting when Mays talked over her, asking, quote, "President Galloway, point of information. Did you have to be rude to me?"
What is this fucking problem?
She replied that she wasn't trying to, after which Mays said, quote, "Well, then you shouldn't have. I was wrapping it up. You ain't gotta be like Hitler. You sound like it from where I sat. Like Hitler. What you want me to do?" He then gave a Nazi salute.
What the fuck is this fucking problem? Wait, okay, how old is he at this point? Because he's like gotta be like 70, right? He's like old.
He's in like his 50s.
Oh, okay.
50s and 60s. Councilman Maurice Davis motioned to have Mays removed from his leadership roles as vice president of the city council and finance chair. So like I said, the article's a mess, so just the city council, that's all he is now, vice president. Shortly after Mays was removed by police due to surpassing his warnings for being out of order, resulted in him yelling in protest while being escorted out. The vote was called and returned a unanimous verdict to remove him of both roles at 6-0.
So he has like nothing left, right?
Yep, that's January of 2020. So now March 2020, Mays was censured for 30 days for being disruptive. On September 21, Mays was removed from a virtual meeting with fellow council members by the then president without a chance for appeal, which resulted in his censure and silencing the following day. So he wouldn't leave. He just did it digitally via COVID. It still wouldn't cut his bullshit out.
Oh my god. Okay, hold on. So why is he having this meeting if he was stripped of his powers?
Because they brought it up to a vote, but it didn't actually pass.
Oh, so
they tried, but they brought it up to a vote, and then he didn't get the votes to actually lose it because the people of Flint, Michigan hated all these other useless cocksuckers. They love this guy more.
Okay.
In fact, Alex, November 25th, 2021, he's elected president of the Flint City Council.
Okay, so he's having a little turnaround here, right? So how does he fuck this up?
Mays said in a press release, quote, "I look forward to getting everybody ready for the positions that they hold. And I'm telling you, I've been on this council for at least 8 years. I ain't tripping on a position. Just to have it and give it to y'all has been a blessing."
Okay.
In March, he was censured for 30 days due to a lack of decorum during a meeting, berating City Clerk Inez Brown, City Administrator Clyde Howards, and other members of the council. Mays filed a lawsuit to block the suspension, which led to a temporary injunction, but the judge in the case dissolved the injunction, leaving Mays under supervision.
Okay.
They just keep having layers and layers of bureaucracy, but he cuts right through it because... Alex, hold on. I just realized you haven't actually heard this guy's voice. I'm going to link you a video, Alex.
By all means, let me hear this guy.
I'm just telling you. I'm going to let you talk.
Who you talking to? You gonna let the voters let me.
Calls are gone lit. Alex, is it making sense now?
Do I have the floor? Do I?
Do I have this one?
Yes, you do.
Thank
Yes,
you.
you
very much.
do.
Got to move the city forward. We have got to
Oh, I
vote
was
yes
hoping.
on this. Thank you.
You the reason that I'm gonna vote the way I'm gonna vote
Look
because
at him
you
in the
tried to
president
put words
chair.
in my mouth like I said you was a racist.
He was a racist.
You got to stop doing that. You got to stop doing that.
God!
All I said there was
Oh,
mediation
man.
and there
You
were
told
people in
details
rooms.
of
That's
who
not
in what
confidential.
room and how many
But
and
I am
what.
going to finish saying this.
Well, go ahead.
Well, go
We
ahead.
got folks sitting in business,
I'm the
and
chairperson.
I wouldn't care if you was the chair, the sofa, the TV. You gonna follow these
We'll
rules.
follow these rules.
Isn't he great?
You put your finger up here. You're out of here.
The old lady flips him off. Get the
You're out of here. Okay, so what I'm getting at, so I thought this guy was kind of like, okay, I thought he was like an asshole. I didn't know that without a microphone, he sounds like his microphone is peaking. That's just his voice.
You know that part in Smiling Friends where he's like, I swear to God, if I had my Ghibli gum on me right now.
And his microphone fucking, yeah, so that's just how this guy sounds normally. What the fuck?
So April 25th, 2022, during a council meeting, Mays was warned for using profanity. He requested to leave the meeting, saying, "May I ask to be excused so you don't get the pleasure of throwing me out? May I be excused?" This was granted by the chair of the meeting. However, after approximately 8 to 12 minutes, Mays returned and was asked to leave the meeting.
What is his fucking problem?
Oh, fuck. So he appealed the ruling, right?
Yeah.
Which, after deliberation, returned a 7-1 vote for Mays to leave, with Mays as the 1 no vote. He refused to leave. So he pokes his head back in and says, "Do I have to go right now?" And says, "No, I'm not." So he was arrested and removed by police. With the arresting officer testifying during the following trial that Mays stated to him that he would not leave unless he was handcuffed and arrested.
Oh my fuck.
Again, unanimous vote, 6-0 to remove him as president of the city council.
Oh my fucking god.
During May's trial, all of the city council members who testified stated that when they had previously requested to leave for various reasons, all of them returned to their seats without issue. Again, like a bunch of little fucking toddlers talking to the teacher. When I get in trouble, I just sit back down.
Yeah, that's what I've kind of noticed about politics, is that it is just a bunch of, like, children in, like, the skin suits of old people. This is what rules us, huh? Oh, sorry, I'm getting a little radical for a second there. Well, please continue.
So after the 2-day trial, Mays was found guilty of disorderly conduct and sentenced to 6 months of probation and a fine of $125.
Oh, yeah.
Mays filed for appeal of not guilty, but it was denied. Mays attempted to run for mayor in 2022, but lost to the incumbent. He just, like, barely lost, right?
All right.
So, July 10th, 2023. Again, it didn't pass. They brought the motion up, but it got voted down. So he's still president. They still got to fucking deal with him.
Oh my fucking god. How come he's staying in power even though they 6-0'd vote to remove him? Why does he get to stay despite that?
Because the people voted him in, and now he's the president. And, like, he's doing good things for the city. He's just not putting up with these dumb white people.
Okay, but, like...
Oh, I'm sorry, Alex. I haven't even gotten to my favorite moment with him.
By all means.
During his council meeting, Mays, quote, shouted profanities at the chair and other council members and failed to conduct himself with appropriate decorum. The council voted to suspend him, returning a 5-2 vote in support of his suspension.
Oh.
So now one other dude has some fucking balls, finally. He's like, listen. Still, it was correct, though. He was suspended until September.
Oh my god.
So officially, he's suspended. He's not supposed to be in there for a while. So next month, before September, May's attorneys sued the city council, saying they were in violation of the Open Meetings Act. The council had prevented Mays from, quote, addressing a meeting of the public in his official capacity. Which I agree with. Maybe these people shouldn't be saying this fucking ratchet shit. He is supposed to be there.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, he's the president. He should be there.
So December 20th, 2023, Mays was escorted from a council meeting by 3 police officers after making, quote, constant frivolous motions and using, quote, racist rhetoric.
What is this?
The claim came from Hayes referring to other black council members who challenged him as handkerchief head Negroes, Uncle Toms, and Sambos, followed by a barrage of racial slurs and frivolous hand motions.
What is a fucking Sambo?
Oh, that's like those super racist statues where it's like a black person with giant red lips.
Oh, okay.
My grandma has a bunch in her kitchen.
Oh.
Oh, by the way, no, I can't say this on the podcast. I'll tell you afterwards.
Oh, okay.
It's about a funny crime someone in my family did. I'll tell you later. He was suspended for. Oh, by the way, the frivolous hand gestures were absolutely him taking his like hand and like fucking it, flipping him off, doing more Nazi salutes. So he was suspended for 90 days. He denied the allegations, and his attorney filed for a temporary restraining order. The judge turned down his request, leaving the suspension in place.
Oh, okay.
Mays died of natural causes in his home in February 2024 at 65 years old.
Oh.
Just like 2 months ago, dude.
Oh, shit, okay.
Following his passing, the city of Flint released a statement that praised Mays, saying he had bold and courageous service, and he was beloved among his constituents in the First Ward. The flag above the city hall was lowered to half-mast beginning February 26. And then there's another thing in there. Oh, yeah. He died. This is important, by the way. And literally everyone listening, I want you to pay close attention to what I'm about to say. Fwiggy wuggy wugga wumpus.
Okay.
No. Mays died without a will, leading to a legal battle between his only son, the funeral home, and 3 of his son's uncles and an aunt.
Okay.
This battle delayed his funeral, which was supposed to take place on March 9th. Due to this, the city suggested that a minute's silence take place on that day from noon. That's all this city could give him is, we're going to give you 60 seconds of silence.
Okay.
But yeah, I read this dude's Wikipedia page, and Alex, you know the Ratatouille gif where he's reading the little letter?
Yeah.
And he reads it faster and faster and faster,
Yeah,
and he starts seeing racist hand emotions, and are you some kind of Nazi? He's a cool guy. I like this guy.
Yeah. What was his fucking problem?
Well, his problem was he couldn't drink the fucking water, and they weren't doing anything about it. So what probably happened is they were going to change the water, and that was normal. But then it went wrong. So then the water people are like, oh, fuck, we're liable for this. How about we just pay the shit out of the emergency manager who's going to take over the politics of Flint right now and get him in our pocket so we're fine, and then we pay the next person. Hayes was like the only one. He was one of the, or Mays was one of the first ones who was actually like, no, this is not correct. Like, he was that guy that like brought the fucking bottle of water into the council and is like, does this look drinkable? Will you drink that? Will you drink that? Right?
Yeah.
Everyone else was just sitting there doing nothing because they're a bunch of meek fucking pieces of shit. Just like a certain group of people in January of a couple years ago that were hiding in their little masks. Their little plastic helmets that we're supposed to respect them. Anyway. But yeah, this was just like a fun little short story. I thought it was a funny one. Dude's kind of crazy. I wish I could respect a politician ever, right? I think I could respect this guy just because he did not give a shit.
Okay, but he was still corrupt in his own way, trying to use his own powers to get out of any responsibility of, like, just fucking around. He's still bad, Tad.
I don't know. All the stuff I read was him reacting like he was intentionally not getting his ward's grass cut. Like, it wasn't his yard. Like, it was the district of the city that he was managing was not being taken care of because they didn't like him. And it's like too fucking bad. You don't work for me, you work for the city. Anyway, only other housekeeping notes I have. The t-shirt thing is over now. However, if you like make a funny enough request, I might send you one anyway.
Based.
So, I'm all done. Unless you got anything to say, Alex.
Nothing that wouldn't get me chat restricted again on Discord.
Woo! All right, I'm stopping my recording.